Hello, everyone. Hello, welcome to day 2 of our embodiment challenge. I'm so excited to be here with you. How was yesterday? How was your homework? Is it good? So the homework yesterday was to just write down all of those things of like, who do you want to be? What does that girl do that you want to be, right? So head over to the Facebook group, drop your homework to be entered to win the free 20-minute call with yours truly. I'm going to share this video really fast into my Facebook group, and then we are going to start talking all about habit. There I am. Share. How was your day? It was so beautiful here yesterday, and today it's a little dreary, a little rainy. I lived in Seattle for 10 years, and so when it's dreary and rainy, I get a little bit like a toddler throwing a temper tantrum because I don't like it. I like the sunshine. I'm a Colorado girl, so sharing this. Come hang out for day 2. Post. Okay, here we go. So, habit. How do you feel about habit? I think that the science of habit is really, truly fascinating, right? And it can be a little frustrating for people. Let's shut this so I can't see my own self on the Facebook Live. I find that really distracting. Okay, so habit. It's kind of common knowledge that the habit loop is comprised of 3 parts, right? We have the cue, we have the behavior, and then we have the reward, right? So if we're trying to institute a new habit, it's important to kind of like think about those things because we need to set ourselves up for success, right? And so it's important, like, for example, if you're trying to set out a habit of working out, like you'll lay your workout clothes out in the morning so that you'll see them, right? Cue. And then behavior, and then the more you do that cycle, the more your brain will start to crave those endorphins. Reward, right? But oftentimes, that habit loop, people get frustrated with it, right? Because we'll do the things. You'll start a new workout program. You'll start a diet or whatever. Start training for this, that, or the other thing. And you'll do the things. And you don't always see that immediate feedback, that immediate gratification that you're doing something that's making progress, right? Like fitness is a really great example of this, again, because fitness is a really great example for everything. You'll start a workout program, you'll do a few days, you'll do a week, and then you'll step on the scale or you'll look in the mirror and you don't see those results yet. And you start telling yourself that this isn't working, this isn't the thing for you. And you need to find that next better whatever thing down the road that's going to like be it for you. Meanwhile, all your work is not going unseen. It's just being stored, right? It's this theory of the plateau of latent potential. the library drama. The plateau of latent potential, right? And so it's this theory that all of this stuff is being stored, right? It's you just have to hold faith long enough and keep doing the things long enough for the line to start to explode, right? For you to start to see exponential results. And most people don't stick to it that long. And I heard this example of this theory that I thought was really great. It really explains it really well. So you take an ice cube out of the freezer, right? You set it on the counter, and it's 28 degrees. It's still frozen. It's 29 degrees. It's still frozen. It's 30 degrees. It's still frozen. And it's not until that temperature drops above or rises above 32 degrees where that ice starts to melt, right? And then you can actually see the progress of the heat melting the ice. But you need to go through all of those degrees from 0 up to 32 degrees to get to that point. Does that make sense? So it's not that all that stuff's going unseen. It's just being stored up. It's just waiting for the appropriate time to do its thing, right? And so that's generally what stops people. We just don't push past that plateau of latent potential. We just don't hold faith long enough. You know, you hear it said often in fitness programs, right? Like, you have to have faith, you have to trust the process, right? And this is true with anything that you're trying to accomplish. You have to trust the process, and you have to trust that everything is going together under the scenes. Everything's navigating to set you up for the greatest success, right? And I'm really one of these people that I'm equal parts woo and science, right? Like, I like to know the hows and the whys and the scientific stuff behind all this stuff. Like, I find the science of the brain absolutely fascinating, but I'm equally as much woo, right? As much like trust the universe, as much like the universe always has your back. And so it's kind of this balance of understanding how these things happen and knowing that it's going to work out for your best interest, right? So today I want to dive into habit on a little bit of a deeper level. So there's 3 layers of behavior change. And when we're talking about habit, usually people start with layer number 1. And layer number 1 is changing your outcomes, right? So we set goals, and because we're looking for a change of outcome, we're looking to lose weight, we're looking to increase our financial abundance, we're looking to have a better relationship, we're looking to achieve something, right? We're going to train for that marathon so that we can complete it, so that we can win the race, so that we can get the trophy, right? But this, again, the approaching habit from this perspective, from this first level, doesn't give us the intrinsic motivation to sustain it, because we get into that plateau of latent potential and we don't often stick to it long enough to see the results. So when we're coming at it from a perspective of just seeking out results, there's not that stick-to-itiveness, there's not that gusto to our commitment to this particular goal, right? Because it's just an outcome that we're seeking. Layer number 2 of behavior change is we're changing the process, right? So this is when we're instituting habits. We're trying to create the habits. We're coming at it from a perspective of, I want to have this habit. Like, I want to create the habit of working out every morning. I want to create the habit of, not going to the fast food joint every day. I want to create the habit of XYZ, fill in the blank, right? And so this comes from a perspective of a system, right? And again, it's not intrinsically motivated. I talk a lot about the difference between intrinsic motivation and external motivation within the mindful nutrition workshop, because that's really the difference, right? Like, we can go by lists, we can buy into the next diet, we can do all of these, we can approach habit change in a way of looking for someone else to validate us, looking for someone else to tell us what to do, right? So from the diet perspective, right? So we buy into this diet, right? We're asking someone to tell us, eat from this list and don't eat from this list, and have this much of this and have this much of this. Meanwhile, we ourselves are not deciding that that's what we need. It's not coming from an internal place. It's not coming from a place of you knowing that you're your own source, that you know better than anybody else, that you know how your body feels, and you know how you want to feel, and you know who that person is that you want to be, right? And a list can't tell you that. So And like, I look at layer number 2, like kind of like the couch to 5K thing. Like somebody's like, these are the steps that you follow in order to institute said habit. But again, where's the motivation? Where's the gusto? Where's the stick-to-itiveness when things get hard, when you're not going to see those results yet, right? So that brings us to layer number 3, and this one is the magic, right? This is the third layer of behavior change is coming, hope this is working, is coming from a perspective of changing your identity, right? And this one goes so deep. This makes it the intrinsic motivation. So, habits are essentially how we embody our identity. So if you think about it, your behaviors are a reflection of your identity. They are a reflection of who you believe that you are. They are a reflection of who you are becoming. It's been shown that what you do is an indication of the person that you are. And so if you're not happy with the person that you are, if you're not happy with your life, if there are things that you want to change, the way to bridge that gap is to change the way you identify, right? And this can go positive or negative, right? So I wrote down the example of a picky eater. So you say that you're a picky eater. The more you say that, the more you believe it. The more you believe it, the more you act like it. So if you were to flip that, if you were to approach a social situation or an outing situation or any kind of food situation and say something different instead of affirming, I'm picky, how would that change the way you show up in your life in general, right? It's like we don't institute a habit of reading a book, right? Just to read the book. You institute the habit to become a reader. You don't start a workout program to do a workout. You start a workout program to become a fit person, right? And so if you address these habits, like instituting these habits, and you become the person, then it doesn't matter if you're in that plateau of latent potential. You'll still stick it through because that's what a healthy person does. That's what a fit person does. That's what a person that reads does. That's what a musician does. That's what fill in the blank here, whatever habit you're trying to institute, right? Because we start to identify as that person. And the more you repeat a behavior, the more you actually embody it. So this is the embody piece. This is where we bridge the gap. This is where the tactical, logistical ideas that help you go from the person that you are today to the person that you want to be, right? We wrote down yesterday about like, who is that person? What does she do? And so this process is like, it's simple and it's complicated at the same time. There's 2 steps. Decide who you want to be, and then you start proving it to yourself. So if you want to be a person that's 40 pounds lighter, what does that person do? How does she show up? What does she eat? How does she go out? What does she focus on? Is she constantly worried about what she's eating and what she's not eating and what she's restricting and lists and whatever? Or does she enjoy her food? Does she go out? Is she able to just like experience life and really enjoy certain things and have them, within moderation and like because she really wants them? Does she have weird feelings after she eats them? Probably not. Does she how is she? What does she do? And you start approaching your life from that perspective. So no matter what it is, I just use nutrition and fitness because it's my language and also because it translates really well. So who do you want to be? And how can you start proving it to yourself today? because the more wins we have, the more that reinforces. It's positive reinforcement, right? Pavlov and his dogs. The more we prove it to ourselves, the easier it is to keep going. And we're doing it because that's the kind of person we are. We're not doing it because we want the reward, or because we think we should, or because this is what Susan's doing, or anything else. It's intrinsically motivated. It's coming from a place of, this is just who I am. This is just how I show up. This is how I want to show up. This is how I want to feel. This is how I want to embody my life. And then you just start doing those things. So, what do you want to stand for? What kind of values do you want to have? What kind of patterns and habits and behaviors do you want to have? How do you want to show up for your kids? How do you want to show up in your relationship? What kind of relationship do you want to have? How do you look in that relationship? How are you going to take yourself to the next level based on the person that you want to be, right? Based on what you decide your life gets to look like. That was really Southern sounding of me. How do you want to feel? And what can you start doing to start getting those small wins to feel that way in your life? Okay? So, head on over to the Facebook group, share with me your homework, share with me who you want to be and what small things you can do to start getting those quick wins to reinforce that. And yeah, come back for day 3 of our challenge tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about emotional eating, which is a topic I love. Clearly, I created the Emotional Eating Masterclass, and I'll talk to you more about that tomorrow because that is magic. Anyway, I'm going to sign off for now. I look forward to hearing your feedback and all of your amazing takeaways for today's challenge. And as I always say, go out there and love your you, because that is what it's all about.